Hey, Good Sam, this is Pastor Jed. It was really good to be together again on Sunday. We gathered as a church and we celebrated the gift of baptism. It was really beautiful because 2 weeks ago we immersed 7 people as they made a commitment to faith. This time we gathered around the family as they presented their child for baptism, and we made promises that we would love and pray and encourage and model what it looks like to be people of faith as we grow to be more and more like Jesus. On Sunday, we also continued our series on David. Some of you have said, Pastor Jed, that was one of the best sermons that I've ever heard you preach. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. I should have been preaching on adultery a lot more. I don't know why I waited 3 years. Yeah, adultery, that's what we talked about. We talked about temptation and how temptation can grow, it can build, and it can lead to sin. And this sin compounds, and this sin ultimately leads to death. On Sunday, we looked at 2 Samuel chapter 12. It's a chapter that we're anticipating David to take another step forward, to write another psalm that highlights who God is, to lead another battle which expands Israel's territory, to give another speech that unites God's kingdom. But instead of moving forward, David takes a huge step into the abyss. He goes tumbling off. He allows temptation to grow and to lead to sin, and this sin compounds and it leads to death. I think a lot of us resonated with that message because we have a little bit of David in all of us. But we can learn from David. We can learn from his sin. What we learned on Sunday is that David was at the wrong place. He was supposed to be on the battlefield, but he stayed home. He stayed in the palace. We can learn from David's mistake. Be at the right place and use our time wisely. David's not using his time wisely. He is lounging away his day. He is in bed when temptation overtakes him. We were reminded that David had an opportunity to come to his senses. When he discovered who Bathsheba was, his servant reminds him that she is the daughter of Eliam. He knows Eliam. She's the wife of Uriah the Hittite. He knows Uriah the Hittite. His servant is trying to help him avoid temptation by reminding him that he knows these people, that they are interconnected. His servant is bringing accountability to the conversation. Our question on Sunday was, who are you accountable to? Who have you allowed into your life? Who knows your story? Who knows your thought life? Who knows where you need accountability and encouragement? We were reminded that when we are tempted, we need to flee temptation. But David invites temptation into the middle of his bedroom. And then sin takes over and bam, 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 everything falls apart so quickly. We also were reminded that when we do sin, we need to confess it immediately. We need to own up to it. But David doesn't do it. He tries to hide it. He devises a plan to kill Bathsheba's husband. Then the problem goes away. But what we were reminded of is that God always sees our sin. And sin always has a consequence. This Sunday, we're going to see how God handles this situation that David has gotten himself into. We're going to see how God redeems David and how God continues to call David a man after God's own heart. If you're wondering how that can be, I just want to invite you to come on Sunday. But before you come Sunday, come on Wednesday because we're hosting another session of Wednesday Night Live. And so I'll see you for dinner, 5:30, and then we'll connect around the scripture at 7, and then we will conclude at 7:30. Blessings.